Okay, in this video we're going to talk about how to merge to HDR. And in order to do this, you have to have a photograph. You have to have photographed images that are bracketed. So what that means is that you need one that is overexposed, and it needs to be the same image, by the way. So you want to set up on a tripod, and you want to bracket your exposure so that you get one that's overexposed, one that's properly exposed, and one that's underexposed. And I've got a couple of underexposed ones here. And you can actually bracket more than just 3. You can, I think, do up to 9 or something like that. But so I've got 4 different exposures here that I'm going to work from. You cancel that real quick so I can show you how I got there. So I'm going to go to File, Automate, and Merge to HDR Pro. And it's going to ask me, okay, what files do you want to use? I'm just going to say Browse, and I'm going to go find those files that I just showed you. So there they are. I'm going to select all of them, and I'm going to say Open. It's just saying, yeah, that's what you want to use. Yep. I'll say OK. So what's going to happen now is Photoshop's going to take all 4 of those exposures and sort of compound them into one image. Then it's going to give me these adjustments on the side here so that I can choose where I'm going to bring out the highlight from the overexposed, the shadows from the overexposed, and the highlights from the underexposed, so I can get a hyperdynamic image. So over here, we've got some edge glow adjustment. We've got tone detail. We can adjust exposure, gamma, detail, and down here we can adjust shadows, highlights, vibrance, and saturation. I'm going to first start messing with my exposure. If I want to increase gamma, you can see what that does. Maybe I want to bring up some vibrance, possibly saturation. I want to take my highlights down a bit so I can see some of the detail in there. You notice when I'm bringing that highlight slider down, I'm getting more detail in my highlight areas, but it's not really affecting my mid-tone and shadow areas. And just the opposite is true for shadow. You also have up top here, you have some presets that you can select from. So anything from photorealistic to surrealistic. And that'll adjust your sliders accordingly to give you that effect. Okay. And I think I'm going to go with the original surrealistic one. But do note that when you choose one of these, it will override any settings that you've done. But you can always then go, you can choose one of these first and then go and adjust after that, of course. So if I wanted more highlight detail or shadow detail, it's going to keep the exposure settings and that of the preset, but then I can still make those changes. Once you're happy with it, you say OK. And what Photoshop does then is it sort of compresses them all into one file with the adjustments that you made. And there's your HDR image.